More relentless attacks this morning on and from Iran. While President Trump is saying the country has been brought to its knees, Iran is still firing, targeting oil-rich Gulf states to drive up gas prices to create economic pressure to stop the war. With new strikes overnight on Bahrain, this drone hitting a high-rise in Kuwait, an explosion at the UAE's consulate in northern Iraq, and firing barrages of missiles at Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu overnight appealed once again to Iranians to rise up and cast off the yoke of tyranny. But so far in Iran, the only people allowed to rally in the streets are government supporters celebrating the selection of Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader, replacing his father, assassinated by the U.S. and Israel on the first day of the war. No signs of the anti-government uprising President Trump has also called for. But outside the country, the Iranian women's soccer team caught the world's attention by refusing to sing Iran's national anthem at a match in Australia. Iranian state TV branded them traitors. On the team bus, they were seen flashing the universal sign for help. Crowds chanting, "Save our girls." Australia granted asylum to 5 team members who escaped. Others are returning to Iran, worried their families could face repercussions. And this morning, supporters tried to stop them from reaching the airport. But in Lebanon, no help is being offered, only more attacks that continue to escalate. Israel and Hezbollah are trading fire, killing hundreds so far and displacing 500,000 people, nearly 10% of the country's population.
The 7th American service member killed in action in the war with Iran is now home. Vice President J.D. Vance overnight saluting Army Sergeant Benjamin Pennington, who died Sunday from wounds suffered in an Iranian strike on an air base in Saudi Arabia on March 1st. 9 days later, President Trump saying the war may be winding down.
It's going to be ended soon.
Even as he warned of larger strikes if Iran follows through on its escalating threats to cut off oil exports through the critical Strait of Hormuz.
We'll take them out so quickly, they'll never be able to recover, ever.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said today will be the most intense day of strikes and pressed on whether the administration is sending mixed messages on the war's length, saying this.
This is not endless. It's not protracted. We're not allowing mission creep.
The war has choked off traffic through the strait. That, paired with strikes on oil sites across the region, sending gas prices soaring here at home.
To fill it up, it brought an extra $15, $20 on the tank.
President Trump telling NBC News by phone that people have talked about the U.S. seizing Iranian oil, but saying he didn't want to discuss it now. And amid new video of what weapons experts say is a U.S. Tomahawk missile that likely struck an area near an Iranian elementary school at the start of the war, killing 170 people. President Trump again asserting without evidence that Iran could have fired the missile.
The Tomahawk, which is one of the most powerful weapons around, is used by, is sold and used by other countries.
Experts say in this conflict, only the U.S. has that munition. The president adding it's under investigation. There are growing concerns now that rising oil prices will increase costs for plane tickets and for goods shipped by truck, like food, clothing, furniture. President Trump adamant the oil industry will be more secure in the long term for now, offering to escort oil tankers and provide risk insurance for companies willing to try. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
This morning, President Trump touting successes in the Iran war.
We're winning very decisively. We're way ahead of schedule.
As he and his advisors send conflicting messages about how long the war will last. Over the weekend, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told 60 Minutes.
This is only just the beginning.
And on Monday afternoon, the Department of Defense posted, quote, "We have only just begun to fight." But around the same time, the president told CBS News, "I think the war is very complete, pretty much." And soon thereafter said this.
I think you'll see it's going to be a short-term excursion.
Short-term.
short term.
While also adding that the U.S. would not relent.
We've already won in many ways, but we haven't won enough.
Later in the day, he was asked whether the war was just beginning or complete.
Well, I think you could say it both. It's the beginning of building a new country, but they have no Navy, they have no Air Force.
Adding that Iran's leadership is largely gone.
We could call it a tremendous success right now as we leave here, I could call it, or we could go further, and we're going to go further.
President Trump is also facing scrutiny for a strike near an Iranian elementary school in the first hours of the war that killed more than 170 people, mostly children, according to Iranian officials. The Pentagon says it's investigating.
I just don't know enough about it. I think it's something that I was told is under investigation, but tomahawks are used by others. Whatever the report shows, I'm willing to live with that report.
But experts say the U.S. is the only military in the war that uses Tomahawk missiles, and say it is likely an American Tomahawk missile hit the area near the school. The president yesterday also very conscious of the economic impact of the war, with oil prices climbing after restrictions in the key Strait of Hormuz, though the markets rallied last night.
We're also focused on keeping energy and oil flowing to the world.
Overnight, responding to the president's comments, Iran threatening to stop the flow of oil if attacks continue. The president later posting that if Iran's leaders did so, quote, death, fire, and fury will rain upon them.
And we're now in day 11 of this conflict between Israel and the United States on one side and Iran on the other. And so far, we've heard from Defense or War Secretary Pete Hegseth saying in a live address that this could be the most blistering day yet. It sounds as though the United States has no plans to relax their attacks on the Iranians. But this comes a day after President Trump said that all of this could wrap up soon. Well, this isn't the first time that we've heard mixed messages from the same administration executing the same war. Whether or not the Americans do decide to relax their attacks against the Iranians, the Israelis have said, and we heard this from Benjamin Netanyahu, that they will continue their attacks against Iran regardless of what the United States does, whether or not they do decide to lighten the load and lighten their attacks on Iran. Meanwhile, Israel is continuing to execute its offensive in the northern border over in Lebanon, where Hezbollah has been firing back into Israel. We got one report of an incoming projectile from Lebanon just yesterday. That conflict is causing chaos and hardship in Lebanon, with about 500,000 people displaced. Hundreds more have been killed. This looks like the Israelis are going to continue to take Hezbollah to task. Many people we've spoken to say they're hoping that this could finish Hezbollah once and for all. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.